Welcome back to my video. This is day 3 of 15 YouTube channels in a row. I started to do this to get myself out, practice unscripted videos, no scripts. I do have an idea of the title. I feel inspired to share something with you that you may identify with. If you are following Neville Goddard's work, Neville Goddard, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But if you are familiar with his work, you have probably seen a lot of YouTube influencers that talk about his work. And you probably have heard of ignoring the reality. Ignoring the reality, your present reality, which is nothing more than the manifestation of all of your past beliefs, thoughts, emotions. And Neville has been quoted throughout his life saying, ignore the 3D reality and assume what you decide is true and live in the end and ignore the 3D. So what did he really mean by that? I think there's a lot of confusion around that. I was confused in the beginning. I thought to myself, ignore the 3D reality? I do have responsibilities. You have responsibilities. You have to pay the bills, and certain things happen in your life. Maybe you have a medical situation, or you are alone, you don't have a special person. They call that SP. Those are the 3 areas that a lot of people tend to focus on. The health, the finances, and a significant other. I would say that those are the 3 top areas that people focus on, that people want to change their reality in each of those areas, or one of them, or a number of them. Maybe not all of them, but a number of those 3 areas: money, health, relationships. And so, when I first started to study and apply the techniques of Neville Goddard's work, I struggled with the concept of ignoring my 3D reality. And so I want to take a few minutes to show you what he was really talking about. What was he talking about when he was saying ignore the 3D reality? Let's talk about money. Let's say that you've made an assumption that you are wealthy. That's going to be that is your new reality that you've made an assumption on, let's say. But in the meantime, you are maybe overdrawing your bank account. Maybe you have unexpected bills that you might not have the capacity to pay at the moment. Neville was not telling you to ignore your responsibilities while affirming wealth. In the end, he was not telling you to ignore the bills that you're dealing with. When you make an assumption, that does not mean you ignore your responsibilities. So, in the area of finances, you are perhaps presented with financial obligations. Neville was saying, yes, this is a fact. This is what's happening. He is saying, look at this. Calmly, without panicking, without any emotional feelings of distraught or fear or panic. Just look at it and say, yes, I have this bill that needs to be paid, or whatever the situation may be. And then you make a decision that that situation does not define who you are. That does not mean the final verdict. Whatever the balance of your checking account is not the final verdict. It is not a representation of the future. It is a representation of what you're dealing with now. So take action, call for help if you need to, move some money around and deal with it the best way you know how. And then return to the assumption that you have made, which might be, I am wealthy, I am rich, I have $3 million in my bank account, or whatever it is. Return to that. Basically, your present situation is your current reality. It is a fact. It's right there in front of you. It's right here in your bank checking account. This is a fact, but it's not the verdict. It does not represent the final verdict. And that's what he means by ignoring the 3D reality. He's saying, take care of the problem, do what you have to do, make that phone call, move money around, whatever it is that you have to do. And then inwardly return to your assumption. Without all the fear and the panic that you might have done in the past. It's not the final verdict. The same thing with your health. He's not saying ignore your health. Let's say you made an affirmation that you are incredibly healthy, no medications or whatever, but you're taking a ton of medication now and you have health problems. Not feel but saying deal with it, but don't make that your final verdict. Same thing with a better person. If you made an affirmation that you want to have a partner, but you're alone, he's saying, yes, acknowledge that you are alone. Yes, acknowledge that you have health challenges. Yes, acknowledge that you have financial challenges. But don't make any of those areas your final verdict. Because when you make a commitment to the end result and you keep your faith alive, it has to manifest because your consciousness is there. Your consciousness is there. It's not here. It is there. So don't make your current environment the final verdict. That's it for today's video. I hope you found it inspiring and helpful. If you like my video, please like it and share it with other people. If you haven't subscribed, you're welcome to join my community. If you would like to donate and help me, then donate through Venmo. And my Venmo is SJHOPSON. And if you would like to donate, feel free to do that. Thank you all so much for spending 12 minutes with me. Until the next video.